Hello everybody. Today my title is Confucianism, Me and the Cultural Revolution. My name is Hua-Hua Chang. I'm a professor of educational psychology. In today's of my talk, I will tell you some interesting stories about my past, about Confucianism. Well, Confucianism has always been part of Chinese culture. The ideology of Confucius and his followers was written in many children's books. For example, a very famous one is San-Zi-Jing. When babies start to learn to talk, their parents would read them San-Zi-Jing. And San-Zi-Jing means 3-word poetry. For example, this is the first poem written in the San-Zi-Jing. People at birth are naturally good. Their nature are similar, but their habits made them different. And these books help instill core values in kids' upbringing. Well, today is Confucius' birthday, his 2565th birthday. Confucius is a teacher, is an educator, is a politician, and is a philosopher of the spring and spring and autumn period. Personally, I admire Confucius the most for his role as an educator. Confucianism is an ideological, is an ethical, philosophical system developed from Confucius' teaching. He established the first private schools in China. He had about 3,000 students, among them 70 are genius. Well, today in my presentation, I will share with you about my relationship with Confucianism. More specifically, I will tell you the story about Cultural Revolution. During the Cultural Revolution, actually Confucianism was heavily criticized. Also during the Cultural Revolution, more than 20 million urban teenagers were sent to remote villages, and I was among one of them. This is so-called down to the countryside movement. Okay, I will share with you the story about how did I get benefits from Confucius' ideology, quotes concerning teaching, motivation, and ethics. Well, let me tell you more about the down to the countryside movement. From 1960s to 1970s, millions of urban teenagers were sent to work in villages in order to purify their soul and remove bourgeoisie's or privileged sentiment. I will show you the pictures, 2 pictures. On the right-hand side is a train carries 1,000 students from a city called Hangzhou. And you see students were excited because they will leave home, they will go to a very far place. This picture was published in a newspaper. However, I don't remember I saw this. What I remembered is I was crying at the time. The picture on your left-hand side is from a movie. It's about real life of these teenagers. Nowadays, there are so many movies, many TV series, and they are about the topic, about their story. So this is a very big event. Almost every family got affected. Well, even our leader, I will show you 2 pictures. One is about the Chinese current president Xi Jinping. The second from right, when Xi Jinping was young, he was sent to countryside. And also on your left-hand side is a picture of a cave that cave Xi Jinping lived for several years when he was in the countryside. Now Xi Jinping is the current president of China. That means there are so many people about his age who suffered during the Cultural Revolution. Well, I will share with you my educational journey during the Cultural Revolution. In my vita of my PhD thesis, I wrote that Hua-Hua Chang did not have the opportunity to finish junior high because of the Cultural Revolution. In 1970, along with the millions of urban teenagers, he was sent to the countryside as a farm worker. He worked on farm for 7 years and almost completed his high school education by self-study. Okay, I will show you the map. Okay, this is my hometown in Shanghai, and that is the place is called Heilongjiang Province. Sometimes people call it Manchuria. I worked on 2 farms. The first farm I spent about 4 years from my home and about 7,000 miles. I worked there for 4 years. And the second farm is located in Jiangxi province. So I spent about 7 years in the countryside. Well, I will tell you a little bit more about the farms in northern Manchuria. And these 2 pictures are taken from today's. You see, they are very modern, very beautiful, very similar to Illinois farms. But on that day, in old days, the farmers, we did not have this fancy equipment. Nowadays, people are using these fancy tractors, plane to do dusting. And in old days, we use this hay. And we use this tool to get rid of weeds. That one row is so long, and sometimes we spend half day or even 1 day for the one row job. Well, here is some pictures taken from that time. At that time, I wrote in my diary, indignant, infuriated, and inconsolable about having been torn from the middle of junior high school. I became impassioned in my quest to complete my high school education. Well, now I would like to share something more with you about the daily life on farm at that time. 2 years ago, when I was in Shanghai, I got an album. That album was drawn from an artist. His name is Da-Xing Wen. He described the life, daily life at that time. Mr. Wen was one of the millions of us with dreams and talents, did not have chance to continue education, but was sent to the countryside. His album described the daily life from 1970s to 1978. Harvesting wheat on sunny day, you can see a Russian-made combine, and this machine is very old. You see, it requires a a group of people working on it. It does not have power. It was towed by a tractor, and one operator operates the cutter, and a group of people doing the bagger. But for raining day, because the machine could not go to the field, so we use hay cutter to do the job. It was very heavy. Well, we need also carry these bags to our barn. Each bag can have more than 200 pounds of these weeds. But in the winter, we still need to work, and we usually go to the forest to do the logging. In central Illinois, I heard that many farmers, they will go to Florida for their winter vacation. But at that time, this hard life help us to learn many things, to learn help each other, to do collaboration, because many works are not one-man job. We also need to learn how to cook, how to make noodles. You see, the drinking water comes from this melting ice in the barrel. In the winter, the temperature can be -40. We also need to take care of our horses because they help us. And we sometimes need to get rid of these small stones, ice from our horseshoes so that they will do a better job. But sometimes the life has a fun. For example, like ice fishing. For example, like hunting, and we set trap to catch raw deer. And sometimes we got big one. Well, that is not the only daily life on farm. At that time, we also need to participate in some political movement called by the central government. In 1973, Mao launched a movement called Anti-Ling, Anti-Kong campaign. Confucius was criticized. Confucius and Confucianism were heavily condemned by all kinds of slander. Usually after supper, and our young people were gathered to learn the government documents and to write posters. We had to criticize Confucianism. So we had to know what needed to be criticized. During the day, during the break, we need to read these posters from other teams. We also need to show our posters. Well, through this experience, I learned a lot more systematically from what Confucius really said. For example, Confucius told us we may learn wisdom by reflection, which is the noblest, by imitation, which is the easiest, by experience, which is the bitterest. All these words enlightened my way, helped me to determine I can learn. For example, he also said, the man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. What is the most influential one is a quote from his famous doctrine called the Doctrine of the Mean, we call in Chinese 中庸. He said, if someone else gets it in one try, I will try 100 times. If someone else gets it in 10 tries, I will try 1,000 times. If you are able to follow this way, then even if you are stupid, you will become enlightened. Even if you are weak, you will become strong. Well, at that time, I lived in a small village. I remember I lived in this room. Several years ago, I visited the village in Jiangxi province. That is the second farm I worked. You see, I lived in this house from 1974 to 1977. As a farm worker, I had to do back-breaking work from sunrise to sunset. However, no matter how hard life was at that time, I never stopped self-regulated learning. I believe knowledge will set me free one day. Now I'm a professor at UIUC. Okay, this room, I used to live in this room. I share with another guy from Shanghai. Wow, that's so many years ago. Now this room has become a storage room. Well, I went to this village. You see, the road is still unpaved. Actually, that road was built by us many years ago. And the guy on my side is a professor at Jiangxi Normal University, he drove me several hundred miles from Nanchang, the capital city of Jiangxi province, to the small village. And you see his car, that car was Chinese made. It's very cheap, but it's efficient. It has everything, including air conditioning. It's about $5,000 US. By the way, there are so many big changes now. A few years later, Professor Hu bought a new car that is Ford Focus, assembled in China. Well, I need also mention a very important event. It's about President Nixon's visit in China in 1972, which is an important step in formally normalizing relations between the two countries. Like many people in China at that time, I was very excited because I was expecting some big changes. I hoped one day the government will allow us to visit the United States and to study in the United States. Actually, Nixon's trip helped China gradually open its door to outside world. The Cultural Revolution ended in 1976 after Mao's death. Later, I entered East China Normal University and studied mathematics. In 1985, I applied for graduate study at University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I was admitted with full scholarship. So I studied almost 7 years on campus. I really appreciate all the help professors and school administrators and people in Champaign helped me. At that time, how much money I had in my pocket? Only $60. Well, after I graduated, I went to educational testing service and I became a research scientist. I worked 7 years at ETS, and also I spent 3 years in a very prestigious organization called the National Board of Medical Examiner. And then I became associate professor at UT Austin. In 2005, I was recruited as High for Excellence by University of Illinois. Well, University of Illinois is very special in psychometric research. What is psychometricus? Psychometricus literally means psychological measurement. It is the methodology that deals with the design, administration, and interpretation of measurement on individuals' constructs such as abilities, attitudes, personality, and knowledge. And on campus, 3 departments are generating PhD students. They are educational psychology, psychology, and statistics. We have had so many famous alumni that are playing big roles in the field of psychological testing and education measurement. Actually, Champaign is a home for many famous scholars in psychometricus. For example, Cronbach, Tucker, Stout, Tasuka. There are so many more. And actually, we are making big impact in the world. Well, in December 2006, I joined a delegation at UIUC and we visited China to conduct a cooperation training for about 130 testing professionals in China all over the country. And we, among these trainees, 8 from an organization called Hanban. Nowadays, we call it the headquarters of Confucius Institute. Why they are interested in testing? Because they administer a very large-scale Chinese proficiency examination called HSK. Every year, about 300,000 examinees are taking the exam. And many think this exam is a very challenging task because they need a big item bank. They also need to develop all kinds of algorithms to make sure the test is reliable, test result is valid, and also, we need to prevent all kinds of cheatings because it's a high-stake exam. In 2007, I was invited by Hanban to help develop a new HSK test in Beijing. You see the gentleman here, his name is Professor Dai Haiqi. He is a real expert in psychometrics in China, and he is affiliated with the Jiangxi Normal University. And Jiangxi Normal University is a very special place. It's one of the best universities in Jiangxi province, and they are specialized in psychometric research. They actually was ranked #1 in this field in China. So I think in order to do Chinese testing research, they are our very good partner. And I visited this university almost every year to work with the students, professors, and I gave many lectures. Because I still remember when I was a college student, I attended so many lectures given by American professors. I was deeply enlightened and encouraged. Now it's my turn to give lectures in China. Now there are so many big changes in China. And Jiangxi Normal University, recently they built a very beautiful new campus. And here this building is their library. Several of my recent lectures were given inside this building. So after negotiation and discussion, our University of Illinois decided to establish a Confucius Institute that is specialized in Chinese language testing research. And we held our opening ceremony in November 2013. And I was excited because right now there are so many research problems. Also, these research results are transformative. Today, we can solve problems in Chinese language testing. Tomorrow, we can use the same methods to tackle problems in English study, in mathematics study, in STEM research. All these results are transformative. Okay, and I think now, as I mentioned, about 300,000 students are taking the HSK. So there are so many research problems remain unsolved. And we, at this moment, we propose several projects. And one specific project is to develop item bank management system. And we have new items, we have old items. And once we receive the new items, we need to pre-calibrate. So eventually we can put them into our item bank. For old items, if they stayed in our item bank for too long, and we need to retire them. And this system should be managed by very advanced psychometric theory and also some advanced computer programming. And we also need to manage the item bank. Also, we need to assemble the test form, because nowadays not only one testing sites in operation, there will be several hundred, even several thousand testing sites all over the world. And we need to assemble different forms, deliver different forms. So all these forms must be parallel, means their quality. In terms of their quality, they have to be equivalent. And that research generates so many good opportunities for our students, because our PhD students eventually will become professors, testing practitioners, and government agents, and also researchers. And by participating in this research, they can learn a lot. They need to learn how to solve problems, how to program, how to do computer simulation. Also, we receive a fund to support their study, to pay their tuition, and to help them to attend a conference. And these conferences can be domestic, also can be international. And this is Hanban's conference last year. And also, our students, they have some internship opportunities. We always encourage our students to go to these testing companies, such as ETS, located in Princeton, New Jersey, American College Testing, called ACT, located in Iowa City. They spend a whole summer there. They can learn a lot of things. College Board in New York City. Our students learn a lot from this experience. So eventually, this experience can make them ready for their future challenge. Our students, after graduating from our program, and some of them went to this famous university to become assistant professor, and then some students went back to their country to play an important role in their educational system. And some students will join these research institutes in the United States. Yeah, I think, in the future, we can send our students to China, to Hanban, for doing their internship here. Well, the project is so encouraging. So we will do testing research. We encourage students to solve the problem, and we publish our papers in good journals. We advance the field by improving the methods, theory. And now it's time for me to share with you something about my connection with higher education in China. I was born in China. I went through the Cultural Revolution. Now I received great education here to become an expert. It's time for me to go back to share my experience with my friends there. So every year I went back to China. I made all kinds of presentations all over the country. The good thing is I can still present in Chinese, and this makes a big difference. People can really enjoy me. I also worked with the students there. I think all these make me so happy, so excited. And last summer, this year in June, I was selected as a commencement speaker by School of Educational Sciences at East China Normal University, my alma mater. And in my speech, of course, I encouraged them to study well, to overcome all the difficulties. Also, I shared my story with them about the Cultural Revolution, about Confucianism. I used the quote of Confucius in his Zhongyong, the Doctrine of the Mean. If someone else gets it in one try, I will try 100 times. If someone else gets it in 10 tries, I will try 1,000 times. If you are able to follow this way, then even if you are stupid, you will become enlightened. Even if you are weak, you will become strong. Well, life may not always be favorable to you, but we may as well always try to make the best out of the worst situation. Though life was very hard back then, I do cherish the experience, and it makes me appreciate more for what we have now. Thank you very much.